Oedipus, the king of Thebes, is faced with a plague that is ravaging the city. He asks his brother-in-law Creon to consult the oracle of Delphi, who tells him that the plague will end only when the murderer of the previous king, Laius, is brought to justice.
O wise oracle, what must be done to save the people of Thebes from this plague?
You must find and punish the murderer of King Laius.
But who is the murderer?
That is for you to discover. Oedipus vows to find Laius' murderer, no matter the cost. He interrogates his subjects and investigates all possible leads. Eventually, he summons the blind prophet Tiresias, who prophesies that he himself is the murderer and bedded his mother, who gave birth to his siblings. Tiresias also warns him of a future of blindness, infamy, and exile.
Tiresias, you are a wise man. Tell me who murdered King Laius.
You did, Oedipus.
What? Impossible! I would never do such a thing.
But it is true. You killed your own father and married your own mother. Oedipus attempts to gain advice from his wife, Jocasta the queen. She encourages him to ignore prophecies, explaining that a prophet once told her that Laius, her husband, would die at the hands of their son. According to Jocasta, the prophecy did not come true because the baby died and was abandoned, and Laius himself was killed by a band of robbers at the crossroads.
Oedipus, my love, what is troubling you?
Jocasta, the prophecies tell that King Laius' murderer is still in the city and that he was killed by his own son.
My king, do not believe the prophecies. King Laius was killed by a group of bandits, and our son was long gone.
My beloved wife, I must believe you. I will put an end to this plague and find the real murderer of King Laius.
Oedipus becomes distressed by Jocasta's remarks because just before he came to Thebes, he remembers killing a man who resembled Laius at the crossroads. To learn the truth, Oedipus sends for the only living witness to the murder, a shepherd. Another worry haunts Oedipus. As a young man, he learned from an oracle that he was fated to kill his father and marry his mother. Fear of the prophecy drove him from his home in Corinth and brought him ultimately to Thebes. Again, Jocasta advises him not to worry about prophecies. Oedipus finds out from a messenger that Polybus, king of Corinth, Oedipus' father, has died of old age. Jocasta rejoices. Surely this is proof that the prophecy Oedipus heard is worthless. Still, Oedipus worries about fulfilling the prophecy with his mother. Merope, a concern Jocasta dismisses.
King Oedipus, I am here to bear the news of the passing of Polybus, the king of Corinth, who just died of old age.
My dear king, this is good news. The prophecies are indeed untrue and must not be thought of any further.
I am glad to be of service in bearing this good news. I must continue my duty now.
Still, my dear wife, I worry about Merope, the queen of Corinth. The prophecy may still happen.
While the messenger shares the joyous news to the couple, the real truth is that Polybus and Merope are not Oedipus' real parents. In fact, the messenger himself gave Oedipus to the royal couple when a shepherd offered him an abandoned baby from the house of Laius. The dusk in Thebes is beginning to embark. Oedipus becomes determined to track down the shepherd and learn the truth of his birth. Suddenly terrified, Jocasta begs him to stop, and then runs off to the palace, wild with grief.
Oedipus, my king, I implore you not to continue this scrutiny.
Jocasta, I must know the truth to save the city from the plague.
I beg of you, the prophecies are not true. I am terrified all this will only end in gloom and grief.
My beloved wife, I must find this shepherd for he knows the truth. Forgive me, but I must do this.
But Jocasta has already realized the truth. She has pieced together the devastating puzzle of their fates. She cannot believe this revelation. Oedipus is her son and her husband who murdered Laius. The prophecy is fulfilled. The guilt, the shame, the pride, Jocasta's cowardice reigns. Jocasta hangs herself in despair. Confident that the worst he can hear is the tale of his lowly birth, Oedipus eagerly awaits the shepherd. At first, the shepherd refuses to speak, but under threat of death, he tells what he knows. The truth is confirmed. Oedipus is truly the son of Laius and Jocasta.
King Oedipus, the child of King Laius and Queen Jocasta, is never dead, for I couldn't bring myself to dispose of him.
Speak the truth or die. Speak the entirety of what you must intend to inform. Where is the child?
I handed the child to the messenger to Corinth, who asked King Polybus and Queen Merope to take in. My king, you are never of lowly birth. You are that child.
Tell me this isn't true. Oh, the gods! What have I done? I brought the plague upon this land!
And so, despite his precautions, the prophecy that Oedipus dreaded has actually come true. Realizing that he has killed his father and married his mother, Oedipus is agonized by his fate. Rushing into the palace, Oedipus finds that the queen has killed herself. Tortured, frenzied, Oedipus takes the pins from her gown and rigs out his eyes, so that he can no longer look upon the misery he has caused. The god was Apollo. He brought my sick fate upon me, but the blinding hand was my own. How could I bear to see when all my sight was horror everywhere? This punishment that I have laid upon myself is just. If I had eyes, I do not know how I could bear the sight of my father when I came to the house of death, or my mother, for I have sinned against them both so violently that I could not make my peace. Now blinded and disgraced, Oedipus begs Creon to kill him. King Oedipus, my brother, I cannot bring myself to kill you. What else do you wish for me to do?
I do not deserve to be called a king. Please, my brother Creon, bury my wife and your sister, Jocasta. May she rest in peace.
Brother, I must. Tell me what more to do to ease the suffering you are in.
I leave my daughters to your care, Creon, and you must rule over devils. I will leave my future to the judgment of the gods. I must be punished.
As the play concludes, Oedipus quietly submits to Creon's leadership and humbly awaits the oracle that will determine whether he will stay in Thebes or be cast out forever. In the end, people of Thebes look upon Oedipus. He is the king who solved the famous riddle and towered up the most powerful men. No mortal eyes but looked on him with envy, yet in the end, ruin swept over him. This is Oedipus' story of triumphant rise to glory and his downfall from grace.